Gay Network. Mahfouz Al Qadir. Welcome to the channel. And there's a lot of topics. Let me get this out the way, please. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications. I'm going to be a little bit more active again on this channel. Really all my channels. So primarily this one, because this is my like little a day in the life type channel, to be honest with you. And so I want to be a little bit more active. But it's the Men Gay Network. And just basic news, man. I mean, everybody, just random news, wrap-ups. R. Kelly getting 30 years. Being convicted and sentencing was 30 years. And he's still facing other charges in Chicago, his hometown. A lot of people think, well, there's been some eyebrow raiser, to say the least, because a lot of people think that was a little stiff, harsh. A lot of people think it wasn't. A lot of people think it was the appropriate charge, or the appropriate sentencing. And so there's a lot of pushback because of the simple fact, I mean, you have some murderers and some more brutal sex offenders who don't get 30 years. You have kingpins and drug dealers and repeat offenders that are not getting 30 years. So R. Kelly getting 30 years for obviously, a number of charges, though. That's what you gotta look at. There's a number of numerous charges. Holding people against their will. These girls, these young ladies, these women that he wooed and he had in his web, his concubine, so to speak. And there's still some other enablers, I think, that should be getting some jail time too. That's another story for another day, but we can't dismiss that. And so, for him just getting that 30 years, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of shocked at that time. I'm like, man, that's a lot of years. But the crime is heinous, considering these are young ladies and they were young, they were innocent, or at least that's how the prosecution portrayed many of them, that they were coerced into, basically just into being in R. Kelly's presence or bed, or, we know the situation with Aaliyah that had a lot to do with it. And he got the charge that he got. I can't. I mean, I'm not gonna say I feel indifferent about it, but I mean, I was expecting him to get some time, but I didn't think 30 years. I'd be lying to you if I said I thought that. But he got the charge. So, I mean, the sentencing that he got, and he's still facing other charges in Chicago, as I mentioned. So he's going to have to go through it. Talented man, artist, singer, producer. And the fall from grace is hard. I mean, off the top rope, landing on your head hard. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be difficult for him from going from a lifestyle of, being rich and pretty much having everything at your, disposal. And for the most part, the last few years or so, you've been locked up and going to court, in and out of court. And now the judge rendered your fate, which is 30 years in, I believe, federal prison or New York. So, and still facing charges, I think, in 2 states, Chicago, well, not 2 states, well, facing charges in Chicago, Illinois, and another Midwestern state. I don't know why I don't have that. It's not in my mind. I want to say Minnesota, Minneapolis, or something like that. I could be wrong, but it's not looking good for you at all, R. Kelly. So, and then you have people is really now probably going to go at this catalog. I've heard some discussions and reports about that, muting his music, getting it removed from any playlist, and so therefore he can't make any money, no royalties, and even stripping him from his whole catalog. So that's probably going to be down the road, litigation and in and out of court, motions, injunctions, the whole nine. Because that's a lot of money. A lot of money. He wrote a lot of songs. And his royalties, it's a lot of loot. But it's not about the money when it comes to, as far as the crimes. They're despicable. Like I said, heinous. I mean, it's for one thing, you being a predator. Now, are you a predator, as I heard Boozy on DJ Vlad's platform. And he was angry about him getting 30 years based on the fact that, in his words, and I'm paraphrasing, that you have more super predators as opposed to raping women, brutally raping women and killing them and strangling them out, stuff like that, as far as a more graphic rape or sexual assault. And he was saying R. Kelly, for the most part, is really not in that category for him to receive 30 years. But R. Kelly does reach the point where, if anything, I don't know how the law works, in those states. If he's a habitual offender, that has to elevate him into a kind of like, that can't help him being an habitual offender. So it's spooky. It is spooky. And hey, man, he has to take his charge. He has to, ride it out. And he'll be in his 80. He'll be 80 years old. He's 55. Wow. 85 years old or less. And, 30 years, man. And being a sex offender in a federal prison or any prison institution is not a good look for anyone who indulge in those type of things. So, hey, man, it is what it is. Brittany Griner, she pleaded guilty. And those of you who's not familiar with Brittany Griner, she is a WNBA She's a basketball player, a very successful basketball player in the States. And she was in Russia traveling, or even she was probably, because the WNBA is not on, let's look at it. It's not even on the level as far as the pay scale of NBA players. So a lot of these women have to go overseas and work over there and play ball and earn a living just to, even out the playing field, so to speak, which is really never even out because of disparities in salary as far as professional men, NBA and WNBA. So, excuse me. Maybe she was over there and apparently going through the airport, allegedly, she was, her bags checked and they checked her bags and cannabis oil allegedly was discovered in her belongings. And this was back in February. So therefore, long story short, she's been in jail ever since. Some say it's more of a political play. Of course it is. You're a high profile athlete from the United States of America, and you violated, allegedly, the laws of that country. So, we over here in America, I guess, if that's happening any kind of way, if their athlete came over and violated some laws, you have to go through the due process. So she's going through the due process. Is it unfair? Yes. Should she have been home? Yes. She's been over there since February. So, her wife is advocating for her, as far as the Joe Biden, the White House, and Brittany Griner, BG as they call her, wrote a handwritten letter to President Biden, just trying to keep her name in the news to be prioritized of getting her out. And Russia, I think they're trying to get some other prisoners, prisoner exchange or whatever like that. So it's a political football at this point. It's politics, and you have to let it play out. It's not fair. She should be on, but the rules are the rules when you travel. When you go to these other countries, it's not like America. And like I said, I stand on the fact that she should be home. It should be more of an effort to get her brought home. Whatever negotiations you need to negotiate with any American, you need to get her over here. Work out something. But that's too long. She's been there for 6 months. That's too long. So she pleaded guilty. And they say they was gonna give her the guilty charge anyway. Her trial, she's still gonna have to go to trial and go through all that. And that's just for political propaganda. And so I'm hoping she returns and she get back here home as soon as possible, and she can, get back to picking up her life. And I can't imagine, you don't know the language over there, and you're in a prison, and of course you're high profile. So what can you do, man? You just in, you're just in the hands of the politicians and these world leaders at this moment with your case. And hopefully Joe Biden will be able to negotiate a deal with Putin to get her back home as soon as possible. So wishing you luck, BG. Keep your head up. Keep positive. Stay positive. And just keep your head up. And know that the people over here know your story. and we're pulling for you, and we're hoping you can get home and get out of that situation as soon as possible. But keep your head up and maintain. So we have other news, and this is just basically some ongoing thing. Of course, you had the shooter in Chicago. This young man, this disturbed individual, shot and killed 7 people in Highland Park, Chicago, a suburb of Chicago, I must say, but it's near Chicago. And he shot and killed 7 people. One later dying, succumbing to the injuries. It was 6 initially dead, confirmed dead. Then a 7th person that was shot, was murdered, died of the injuries sustained from being shot with a assault rifle that the deceased, he's not deceased, he's the defendant, father sponsored and bought him this rifle legally. And there's some red flags with this guy because, simple fact, he called himself the Awake Rapper. I don't need to mention his name. You can do the research. But his rap name, the Awake Rapper, apparently there's some videos on YouTube. I'm not going to bring any clips up of this dude. I don't think, we shouldn't have to imagine this, but now we're in the time where you have to imagine. You have to really think an escape route everywhere you go. You have to have an escape route. Just in case some lunatic starts to let off. Some lunatic just start to let off shots, assault rifle. He's climbed on a building, a scaled a building, a fire escape, or a ladder that was left out there and got on top of a building and start shooting like 70 rounds, 70 to 90 rounds, I believe. I think kids were out there. It was a parade. This was right in the beginning of the parade that just started, like 10 minutes in, and then he starts shooting randomly into crowds, into bystanders along the parade route. I was just thinking about this today. It's just one after another, after another, after another. Just when you thought it can't get worse, it gets worse. The Buffalo shooting. The Uvalde, Texas elementary school shooting. The kids getting shot up and killed. And there was a situation in California at a church where a young man or a gentleman was shot and killed. And several people injured. You have this shooting. 4 or 5 years ago, you had the shooting in Orlando in the club. Remember the Las Vegas shooting where 60 some people got killed. So this is more common. It's common. I don't like crowds. I don't want to be around. But when I go grocery store shopping, I have to worry about if some lunatic's going to let off some shots. I have to worry about that. I shouldn't have to worry about that. I should be worrying about what frozen food or produce, item I'm going to get and to fill out my menu. I got to be looking over my shoulder. My head's got to be constantly observing, looking for anything that's unusual, because it could be it could be your time. Like I said, you got to look for an escape route. It's unfortunate. These are the times that we're in. With the availability of guns, they're accessible. But this young man, they had him. They always have him. And then eventually they get out, not really follow up. They have issues. The police came to his house twice because he threatened to kill himself, commit suicide, then came back again. Well, they took his knives or whatever, and then they had to come back again where he said he was threatening to kill up everybody. That right there should have forced him into some type of counseling or something. Let's get a hold of this. Let's find out what's really going on. Now you have rights. People have rights. Okay, we just can't slap people. We just can't slap people in the hospital. We have to have a cause. To me, he had 2 times. He gave you 2 warnings. You know what I'm saying? So where it goes from there and where people take it from there at these different levels of whatever the process is with people. When you get called to the hospital, when you get called to a home and they're talking about suicide, seems to me you should be on a watch list, or your name should be on a watch list, just in case you try to, if you got guns, or prevent you from purchasing one until you get further evaluated. But it's politics with that too, so what can you do? Everybody's playing the politic game. And we as a country has been divided for quite some time on different issues, and we can't seem to work together anymore. So it's just a bunch of grandstanding, TV guest spots on mainstream media, and it's getting ridiculous, to say the least. But it is what it is. What can we do? Hopefully that wherever you go, hopefully this stuff like this won't happen, won't cross your path or anything. So tread lightly, people. Be careful. Don't do foolish stuff. And be nice to each other. Respect each other. Because that's the least we can do. So rest in peace to those people, the victims in Highland Park, Illinois, just outside Chicago. Rest in peace. It's really getting sickening, man. To be honest with you, it's getting sickening. And I don't have the answers. I don't have you can send you have prayers, and it just seems to be an evil force that's out here that's I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for tapping in. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can get the notifications when I upload in the future, and come back and visit us. Peace.